what has been some of the, I guess, barriers, the wall barriers when it comes to trying to develop a kid and teach him, everything that techniques and things, and knowing that you have the resume to show that you know what you're talking about. But I'm sure that you get some type of negative attention or things when it comes from high school coaches. What has been some of the things, and how do you navigate those type of things?
Honestly, the biggest comparison is a thief of joy.
Mhm.
And so the biggest problem that I've ever really ran into would just be coaches failing to take the time to learn what the program is about.
Mhm.
Forming their thoughts, opinions, and feelings based off of just what they hear about or what they see on social media without stepping foot on or into a session and just listening and learning about what it's all about. Listening to those conversations, listening to the teachings, and just that feedback. I think some people fall into the trap of wanting the credit.
Mhm.
And there's when you talk about the relationship and the line between trainers and high school coaches or just coaches in general, it's a very fine line because some trainers do it for the attention and the credit. And you can say the same about the coaches. Is everybody wants to be able to, at the end of the day, when a coach comes by or a kid makes it to a certain level, they want to be able to put that post out, and the credit and attention goes to them, and it shies away from the kid. And so I think early on getting into it, especially with the world being shut down, I had a lot of time with a lot of these players, more time than a lot of the coaches did. And so I think with that came natural relationships and bonds and more trust on my end versus the coaches. And I don't think coaches did enough time or credit or research really about who I am and what I'm about, to kind of learn and understand like this is probably the best place for your child to be in terms of executing your game plan. And I think when the coaches who did, Coach Finner from at that time he was over at LBJ. I remember
Mhm.
vividly Coach Finner coming to one of my sessions, watching, not saying anything that I about the session or what I was doing or anything like that. Called me a week later and was like, "Hey, I need you with some of my guys. Like, so just send me the information, send me the prices and everything like that, and we're gonna get it done." And he ended up transitioning. So there was a point in time where LBJ was paying me to go over there and train their defensive backs, like
Mhm.
just outside of the school setting. But he just wanted all of his guys to have access to the same thing that he was seeing Latrell do, he was seeing Andrew do, Sean Fresh, Jay, and all those guys. And so I think the coaches who did take the time to kind of learn what the program was about, they saw the benefits and they reaped the benefits as well. And I think the ones who kind of disrespected the brand, they always came back around.
Mhm.
And I think that's one of the biggest things and testaments about it is like everything we do is authentic, everything we do is pure. I mean, as transparent as can be, you just got to put yourself out there.
I think sometime I'm gonna give you some more, like, giving you flowers, because I don't think people understand also, not only is it training, it's also helping with the recruiting process. And I know this for a fact because you would shoot me a text and ask me, what is my son doing? I have this coach coming in town. I'm gonna do a private workout. Explain to me, like, the relationships that you have when it comes to the college level, because anybody sees your social media, they see you're working at University of Texas and you're doing training drills there. And you would think as a defensive back coach at the University of Texas, who's, you know, I'm here as a head, I'm here as the position coach, but you're still going there and you're still going there to train young men and things that um, guys that you have trained that's at Texas or other colleges, but at the same time, other guys coming along. Explain to me that how that works and your relationship with a lot of different college coaches, that they trust you, not necessarily I'm looking at high schools, but I'm coming to you to say, who do you have for me? Talk to me about that relationship that you have with a lot of college coaches across the US.
Man, we've been blessed because when you really think about it, if you look at that first class of guys, the Jades, the Andrews, Michaels, Latrell, Shawns, Devin, I can really name them all. And when you look at those guys, they not only did they go off to school and perform athletically, but they all graduated.
Mhm.
And so, like, with that being said, you're not doing both at a high level if you're not a good person when it all peels back. And so they're good kids, good men, pillars in their communities. And so when you go off and you're doing things the right way, and people start to kind of do their research and they look for common denominators, we're just fortunate enough to be one of those common denominators. But when those guys leave and they come back and they're bringing on the next group of kids with them, those who are at the University of Texas, they're saying, "Hey, Bam's here. He's going to come over here and train us. Y'all come out here." It's kind of like just creates that relationship to the point to where when a lot of coaches meet me for the first time, I've already been training the kids behind the scenes for 5 years, 2 months, a half a season, a whole season. and there's been no ego or there's been no like me trying to take credit for anything. So I think a lot of the respect I get from collegiate coaches comes from like just learning about me in an organic way. It's like I'm not the guy who's going to be on the visits with these kids. Like, hey, like I got this kid, I brought this kid out here. I'm not taking a million pictures with you. I'm not tagging anything and everything that we do. I'm literally just here to get this player better and get him to whatever it is he feels like he needs to improve on. And I think as a college coach, a lot of those guys see that and they kind of appreciate it because they're in the industry where everybody's trying to use these kids to some replace them at some point in time. And I think they see me as not one of those guys. Not necessarily like a threat, but I'm an assistant to you. And it's like there's peace in knowing that I can only teach these kids, work with these kids within a certain time frame because my job has other responsibilities that I must tend to. But having somebody like me that can come in and aid and spend an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, or whatever the case may be, to get guys to where they need to be to, without trying to mask anybody's development, anybody's growth, or their natural shine. I think that's where a lot of the respect comes from. And just knowing that I'm not doing this to get anything out of these kids. I'm doing this to get these kids to the next level and just to play football for as long as they possibly can. And I think people appreciate that because the majority of these coaches are fathers,
Mhm.
or big brothers, uncles, or whatever the case may be. They have someone underneath them that they are providing for, that looks up to them and that they want the best for. And so I think when they see me and they learn about the relationships I have with these kids, they kind of like just see mirrors of themselves.